Morning, everybody. So another lovely sunny day in the UK, which is fantastic. Unfortunately, the sun tends to come with a little bout of hay fever for me today, so I do apologise if I sniff the whole way through this. And you know how hay fever makes you a bit kind of clumsy if your head is full of them there? Just had the most amazing sort of hay fever related incident in my bathroom whereby I opened the cabinet and my red lipstick just sort of flung itself out of the door and then exploded in extraordinary fashion on top of my toilet seat and the bathroom floor and the wall. So it looks like a murder scene in there at the moment. So I'm going to have to sort that out in a few moments' time. So it's an interesting way to start your Sunday, isn't it? So I wanted to follow up my last video, which was about the Wheel of Life, with a video about the miracle question. So the Wheel of Life is all about identifying what it is in your life that doesn't really work or which is out of balance and which has to change in some way. So if you've done that and identified the thing that needs to change, that's great. But what do you do after that? You quite often ask a question about, well, how are you going to change that? And of course, the answer is usually, well, I don't know. And I think the reason quite often the answer to that is I don't know is because people spend so much more time focusing on the problem and talking about and thinking about what's wrong and what isn't working than they do in visualizing or considering what it is they really want. So what the miracle question does is focuses you on possible solution and a way forward rather than on the problem. So it's solution focused rather than problem focused. So in absolute simplest forms, the miracle question in counselling and coaching circles would be phrased something like, you know, if you went to sleep tonight and overnight something magical happened that changed your world and made it the way that you wanted it, when you woke up, what would that look like? What would have changed for you? So if I were to apply this to my own life, it would go a bit like this. So the thing I am unhappy with at the moment are my levels of fitness. I had a part-time receptionist job for the past year or so whilst I was building the business up, which meant a lot of sitting down, which means that I've accrued, let's say, an inch or two around the middle, which means a few of my clothes are a bit tighter than I want them to be. And yes, that fills me with mild despair. No, I lie. It fills me with quite a lot of despair, actually. So if I were to ask myself, well, if I went to sleep tonight and something magical happened over the night to change that, and I woke up the next day, well, what would have changed? And it's easy for me to sort of visualize and say, well, I would be going to the local sports centre at least 3 times a week. That would be regular. One of those things would be a yoga class because I find that really stretches my body out. Another one would be circuits because that makes me sweat. And then another one, I don't know, gym or swimming. But I want to be going 3 times a week regularly. And the magic about the miracle question is that actually now what I have is a vision in my head about where I want to aim for. So instead of sort of constantly whinging and moaning about the fact that I'm a bit largy and fat at the moment, I've actually got the first few steps or the start of a plan of how I could initiate change in my life and start to feel a lot better. So if you tried out your own way of life and you've identified something in your life that you'd like to change but you're not sure how to do it, then pose yourself that miracle question. If you woke up tomorrow morning and something had changed, what would that look like? Okay, so I'm off for a walk to try and sort out my extra inches. So have a fantastic day and enjoy imagining what your world will be like if that one thing changes. Cheerio.